Messed up moments in comics that made us go,
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Part 111. This is Catwoman, One Bad Day. And in this story, we get to explore a little bit of Selina Kyle's backstory. The book starts off with Selina Kyle traveling through a Gotham City protest, because, of course, why wouldn't there be one? Anywho, crap starts getting a little too real, she just casually leaves. She's making her way to a fine jewelry auction. But you might be thinking to yourself, why is this so special? You see, one of the pieces of jewelry actually once belonged to her mother, who had to sell it to pay rent, who at the time only got a measly $200 for it. So Selina breaks in to get what was rightfully her family's. You know, besides the fact that she sold it. Anyway, moving on. Selina comes into this dress and just throws some old guy off guard, and his wife makes him leave. She then begins speaking with his curator. After a little bit of bonding, they go their separate ways. And of course, she sees a very familiar face. That being good old Bruce. Selina causes a distraction after distraction before slipping away, where it's revealed she stole back the jewelry. She takes it to a seedy jeweler to get examined, and it's revealed it was a fake, and her mother's jewelry was actually stolen by that curator. Part 112. I recently covered a part of Catwoman, One Bad Day, in which Selina Kyle infiltrates a fine jewelry auction, causes some catastrophe, and escapes after stealing back one of her family heirlooms, only for it to be revealed that it was a fake, and the auction's curator actually stole the real one. This item was very important to Selina, considering it was her grandmother's, and her mother ended up selling it for rent money. So Selina goes on a stakeout waiting for the curator to show up. And thankfully, Batman finds Selina. Only for, you know, typical Batman and Catwoman stuff to happen. Anywho, Batman and Catwoman go their separate ways and respectively F off into the night. Selina finds and confronts the curator, who beats the crap out of her. Shockingly, Selina's completely outclassed. But soon Catwoman does get the upper hand and starts beating the old woman like she owes her 3 months rent. Only for the woman to throw Selina like she's a chair at a Waffle House. Like, damn girl, are you okay? After all the commotion's over, Batman shows up and is like, hey, wanna come home with me? But Selina says no, says she has to do some things in the morning like reconnect with her sister. Messed up moments in comics that made us go,
What the f is that?
Part 113. This is Action Comics issue number 900, and you'd think this would be a celebration of Superman. Or is it? And it's a collection of different stories, including this one, where we have Doomsday getting the crap smacked out of him by multiple different super beings, such as Steel, Cyborg Superman, and even Supergirl. But even though this comic has a story where Superman has to relive all of his past trauma, including losing his parents, the messed up part actually comes at a story towards the end, where we see Superman meeting with a national security advisor for the president. He's able to see that there are snipers trained on him with kryptonite bullets. He talks about how he stood in front of a protest in between the police line for 24 hours. And that's when Superman says he's renouncing his American citizenship. And the reaction from American comic book fans was pretty much what you'd expect.
No offense, but it sounds like some commie gobbledygook.
I mean, that seems kind of antithetical to Superman. I wonder who wrote it. Oh, David Goyer. Okay, yeah, that checks out. Messed up moments in comics that made us go,
What the f?
Part 114. This is Diana of Themyscira, or possibly Queen of Atlantis? Let me explain. This story takes place in the Flashpoint universe, where at one point, Wonder Woman was to be married to Aquaman. But you see, there was a little trouble in Paradise Island. Moving on. It seemed that Aquaman had eyes for another, that being his wife in the normal universe, Mara. So, after some geopolitical politic mishaps, which honestly we don't have time to explain in this video, Mara and some Atlanteans go to attack Wonder Woman and some Amazonians. But unfortunately for Mara, Wonder Woman was prepared, and with one quick, well-placed slash, it's fair to say that Mara was no more. So Wonder Woman taking out Aquaman's side piece is basically what started all of the world conflict in Flashpoint. By the way, you see her helmet right there? Yeah, Diana uses it as a sign to Aquaman. Damn, Diana. That's cold. Part 115. This is Felicia Hardy, otherwise known as the Black Cat, a known lover of Spider-Man. But what about the person under the mask? In this comic, Black Cat and Spider-Man are having a conversation on a roof when things began to take a turn. So quickly, in fact, that Black Cat decides that she wants to make the first move. Begins taking off his mask. Carefully and slowly, she begins to lift it up until she gets a full look at Peter Parker's face. And if you can tell by the acne and, you know, just the general composition, he's a teenager. And after all this time, she finally gets a good look at his face. You might be thinking, okay, well, in Spectacular Spider-Man, she got to see his face and she told him to put the mask back on. That couldn't happen again, right? Well, actually, that's 100% right. It doesn't happen again. In fact, she begins immediately panicking, thinking about how old he is, then vomits on his crotch and walks away. And here we were thinking the worst she could have said was no. Part 116. This is the DC Comics character, Starfire. And in the comic 52, issue number 17, she was clearing a path for Adam Strange and Animal Man. She gets pelted by a few asteroids, but let's be honest here, that's not a huge deal. And after landing, she ends up getting back on the ship and having a heart-to-heart with Animal Man about how they both miss their respective families. It's actually a very humanizing moment for both characters. Until it's interrupted by this character known as Devlins. Suddenly, they all start freaking out, even Devlins looks around. Starfire looks absolutely horrified, and Adam Strange asks, "Who is it?" That's where Starfire reveals it's Lobo. He quickly neutralizes the threat, and Starfire decides she's going to talk with him. We don't know what was actually said here, but we can see Lobo looking pretty unsavory. He then begins to motion towards Starfire's chest until... yeah, he just straight up rips her bra off in space. But Starfire doesn't seem to care, and in fact, Lobo kinda looks put off by the whole situation. She ends up making a deal with him, and he tows her back to safety. Part 117, shout out Master Chief. This is She-Hulk, otherwise known as Jennifer Walters. And in She-Hulk issue number 16, volume 2, she teams up with Wolverine to fight Wendigo. What makes this fight a little challenging is the fact that all three members have healing factors. Their fight goes on for quite a while. I mean, She-Hulk has her stomach slashed, and then while she's coming back to, she ends up having a conversation with her Force Ghost, non-radiated self. But when she comes to, she hops right back in the fight. And honestly, each combatant is giving it their all. But that's when Wolverine and She-Hulk decide to do the fastball special, and end up ripping out Wendigo's heart, which doesn't actually kill him, but slows him down enough. During the post-fight wrap-up, She-Hulk asks Wolverine if he wants to get a drink sometime. Why? And she responds with, "From what I hear, you're the best at what you do, and what you do is pretty nice." He responds with, "I don't want Juggernaut's sloppy seconds." And she completely denies this because they really didn't hook up. It was a lie. Messed up moments in comics that made us go,
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Part 118. This is Red Hood, The Lost Days, issue number 6. And in this comic, we learn that the Bat family might truly be based out of Alabama. But let me explain. In this story, Jason Todd, newly resurrected, is working with Talia al Ghul. And after tracking the Joker down, Jason actually gets the upper hand. And he's about to light him on fire when he stops. He can't go through with it. But why? Apparently burning the Joker alive would be too quick for him. And after saying that it has to end, Talia says Jason needs to punish Batman. So after she tells Jason that her father, Ra's al Ghul, is gone, she makes a move? So let's see. Talia hooks up with Jason and Bruce, and Catwoman hooks up with Bruce and Dick Grayson. Good lord, these women are just ripping their way through the Bat family. For the love of God, keep Alfred away from these women. Part 119. I'm sure we're all familiar with Kal-El, the last son of Krypton, Superman. But how familiar are you with the origin of Superboy? No, I mean Superboy. No, that's still not right. Okay, well that's not even close to what I mean. Yes, we're actually talking about the original Superboy, who was just a kid version of Superman. Created by these two, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. And the writer, Jerry Siegel, thought it would be good for Superman to get his own series where he was a child, detailing the origins of the character, and give kids another story to read. DC multiple times, specifically in 1940 and 1941. And unfortunately, he was drafted into World War II in 1943, but hilariously, he would still write comics for DC while he was in the army. So you might be thinking, where's the messed up part? Well, in 1945, they made More Fun Comics issue 101, where DC stole the concept of Superboy and put it in the book, and didn't even tell Jerry Siegel that they were doing this until after the fact. Then they fired him. Part 120. This is the Marvel Comics character, Rogue, and in Uncanny X-Men issue 236, things don't really go her way. But let me explain. From the title page, we can see Rogue and Wolverine busting their way out of a containment facility. And it kind of looks like they're in a bit of a compromised state of undressed, but alright, moving on. And unfortunately, they end up getting captured. Okay, well, they just got captured and they're trying to escape without clothes on. That's not too messed up. But it gets worse. We get this page of the prison guards and warden walking through, and we see this panel of Rogue where it's revealed the guards grabbed her in a very inappropriate way. Keep in mind, this is a comic book character who's basically not able to be touched, so that's like a double violation. It even says all they did was touch her, but with rude hands, ruder glances, and taunting promises of worse to come. So her psyche retreats and she ends up getting replaced with Carol Danvers? Yeah, long story short, she has a copy of Carol's memory, so that persona took over. And she got free.